Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming in today. So I guess first we'll just start with any questions because we started to get into CRUD functionality, using another piece of software using Postman. Um, we used routers, controllers, routes. Did any of that stuff, anybody struggle with any of that? Did anyone have any questions um, about any of that before we maybe just like go over the homework assignment? Okay. Well then maybe we'll just do the homework together, and maybe if any questions arise or you had any issues with any parts of the homework, then we can work through that together. So let me just go ahead and move some things around here. There we go. I'm going to share this screen. There we go. Okay, so I've got my code here. Pretty sure this is still in the same state as when we left off last time. Also, for those who were here last time, I just tried my code again because it wasn't working, and it just worked. I don't know. Um, so let's see. So the homework. It was to first make a logger function. Um, Pretty straightforward. So let's put it here. So they want us to make a logger function that, let's see, passes a rec and a res, as well as the next function, where we should create the method URL properties from the rec object. So they're just properties of the request object before calling next. And we want to log some stuff. So let's just make a basic one. So we're going to do const logger equals, we get rec and res like normal. Then we do next as well. Let's define our method, which is just method equals rec.method. We got our URL equals rec.url. And then log our time, let's log the time of day that this happened. Time equals a new date object, and it's just to our local time, to locale string. And then we'll just console.log all these things, the method, the URL, and the time. And then next. Okay, so that's this. And then what did it want us to do? Just exemplify this. So the first way that we could do it, it talks about two different ways. First off is we just feed the logger in here. So like we would just do this. We just pass like logger in. All right, this should just be working. So we'll go to our port 3000, which is, I have it over here. So let's just go to localhost 3000. So this is the same as before. And now, I'm going to the right, oh, no, I'm not going to the right one. We need to go to our products. So slash API slash v1 slash products. And there, we can see here, we have our logger happening. And so the other way that you can do this is with app.use. And if we do this before all of our other routes, it will just happen automatically. So if we just go app.use logger, then we don't need this in here. Just get rid of it. And then we'll just refresh this page. And it's still working just fine. So that was the first part. Pretty straightforward. This one's nice just because, yeah, you don't have to do anything else with it. So next they want us to add our some more configurations, namely URL encoded and express.json. The funny thing is that the URL encoded was supposed to be deprecated out of Express like years ago, back when I was learning to code. They were like, yeah, they're about to get rid of URL encoded, and they just, yeah, you still breaks sometimes if you don't have it. So it's just kind of nice to use it. And then app.use express.json, super important for when we're doing, especially our like posting and stuff. So our body is parsed into a JSON, super important. Okay, so let me make sure that no one's chatting with me. I'm not noticing. Okay, there we go. All right. Feel free to stop me at any time. Let's see. So let's implement an app.post for API/v1/people. The statement should check the rec.body to see if there's a rec.body.name property. If not, it should return a JSON as an error as follows, and it gives us a little what we should be doing. So let's go ahead and make that. So we've got our products routes. Let's make some people routes. Right? So this is our old products routes. So let's go ahead and make some stuff for people. So first, let's just make sure that we can get our people, which we want to actually grab from our data, right? Because our data.js not only has products, but it also has our people here. So let's grab our people. And then let's just make sure that we can see them at all. So let's just app.get, let's do API/v1/people, rec res, and then let's just res.json our people just to make sure that that works. So we've got this. I'm going to swap over here real quick. Instead of products, let's do people. Cool, there's our people. All right, so that's all working. That's looking just fine. Okay. So next, we want to be able to post to people. So let's do an app.post. We'll also still want it to be to /API/v1/people. So first, it wants us to check if there is a name in our request body. So if there's not a rec.body.name, it wants us to send a 400 status. So return res.status 400. Let's JSONify that, JSON. And success is going to be set to false, of course, because it didn't succeed. And our message is going to be, please provide a name. Okay, so that's checking if it doesn't work. If it does work, we just want to res.status 201, JSONify that, set success to be true, so success true. And then we want to push this actually. We want to push to our people.push. The ID is going to just be the length of the people array +1, just, next in the sequence. And then set the name to be whatever we put in our request body, rec.body.name. And then let's log this here again. So that's what it asks in the instructions. Nothing too crazy so far. Name. Okay, so we got that now. And we can test this inside of Postman. The weird part was is that when I was I have Postman just as an application, but it totally wasn't working. I don't know if it was just like a connection issue or what, but fortunately, this is working just fine. So we can make a new request here in the Postman extension. Let's go to API/people. Let's just get this just to make sure everything's working there. Yeah. Let's maybe shorten this just a bit, pull this up just a bit. All right, yeah, so there's our people. Let's post a person, right? So we're going to post to people. We need to go to our body. We need to make sure it's raw. We need to change the text to JSON. And then their name is going to be obviously Gabe. Let's send that. Success true, name Gabe. Now, if we go back and get our people, we see that there's a 6th person here of Gabe. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. No problem. So there's our get and there's our post. So that's 2 of the 4 main operations, our CRUD operations. I'm sure that they went over all that: create, read, update, and delete. Pretty much everything should be able to do those 4 things, unless you have some sort of strange niche case in which you don't need those things. Okay, so now we just need to refactor because most things are not structured this way. They are broken down into having routes and controllers to handle what we do at a certain route, and then the actual logic for what happens when we hit that route. Then those are parsed into routes and controllers. And they have different terminologies based on the sort of stack that you're using. One popular one is MVC, which are for models, views, and controllers. Here we're replacing the word views for routes. So it's actually more like MRC, or if you're a emo, I guess you could say MCR, like My Chemical Romance. Yeah, so let's refactor this. So we're going to need a routes. You can see that this is a common thing because my VS Code design actually changes the folder design because there's just such a common thing that yeah, they have their own little bit of art for that. Same with controllers. See, it's a little thing here. Okay, so first we're going to need a people.js file in our routes. People.js. It's going to need a couple things. It's going to need const. It's going to need express. Need a router. Oops, that's a capital router. Okay. So we need our router.get and our router.post. It should do the same thing as our app.get. So router.get, and this is going to be here. It can just be this basic slash here. And let's just go ahead and grab our stuff. Oh, wrong one. Let's go ahead and just grab, actually this one's fairly simple. So we can just go to people. And this is just going to do the exact same thing as before. So do rec and res. And then just res.json, same thing as before, res.json people, but we're going to need people here, actually. So const people equals require, should be out one. Yep, there we go. Data, grab that. Cool. And same thing for post, router.post. And now I'm just going to copy the other stuff because I don't feel like typing that out. Grab all this. Go back to people.js. I'll fill this bit out. There we go. Bam. Same thing, same stuff. And then we need to export this router. Module.exports equals router. Okay. So now that we've got this, we can refactor in app.js. So we need to go back to app.js. We need to bring in our router right here. So we're going to call it people router because I'm pretty sure that's what they call it in the assignment. Going to require, it's going to be in routes / people. So this is our people router. So now we can use this in app.js. In app.use /API /v1 people router. Bam, woo. Let me make a little claim here. Be careful that app.use comes after the parsing of the body. So that's this express.json. That's going to be super important. So then it says we can actually comment out our people routes, and they should still work because they're contained within our people router. Let's test that. So these don't work anymore. These are commented out. We should still be able to get these just fine. No problem. And we're still logging too. So let's actually just get rid of these because we don't need them anymore. Keep our app.js as slim as possible. All right, so all of that code is now just being handled by this one line of code, which we exported all of that effort into our routes. So we're going to do the next step, which is this logic should not be in our routes. This logic should be handled inside of controllers. So we need people.js in controllers as well. Oh, there he goes. All right, so we're going to need controllers to do all of our stuff now. So the first one, let's just do the one for getting all of our people. So const, let's just call it, actually we need our people here. Equals require our data. Cool. Then let's make our first one, and let's keep these nice and commented. Get all people. So const, we'll just call it get people. Maybe get all people. Now that's going to be clear that it's all people. This is going to be equal to function. And let's just do the res.json. Keep it nice and the same. Let's keep a running tally of all the things we want to export here. So module.exports equals get people. Okay, let's just implement these one by one. So we've got our get people. So let's go back to routes. And instead of all this, let's just completely rewrite this. So it's just going to be router.get at our base. We're just going to run get people, which we need to export actually. So const get people. We're going to be requiring from controllers / people. And then we can just run get people here. All right. So if this works, our same page we've been refreshing over and over again, our res.people should just be working. Oh, nope. It's unhappy. Let's test with Postman. Let's get our people. Yeah, it's timing out. So we did something wrong. Oh, I just did res.json. Whoops. Res.json people. There we go. Now it's working just fine. Okay, so that's that one. So then the next one is to post our people. Post new person. Let's call it a add person. I think that's what they wanted us to call it anyway. Yes, that is what they wanted us to call it. So add person is going to be a little bit more complex, but we've already had the logic for it, so it's not really that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and grab the logic so we're not repeating ourselves too much. Take all this, go back to our people controller, put it all in there. Whoops. There it goes. Okay. Let's add that to our list of things we're exporting. Add person. There we go. Back to routes. Add person. I got rid of the curly brace somehow. There we go. Okay. And now our router.post. Let's just rewrite it again. Router.post. At the base, it is then going to just run add person. Cool. So let's test this one. Go back to getting our people. I'm not there anymore. So let's go ahead and post me. Bam. Hooray. There I am. Cool. So all this is working now. No problem. All right. And that's the basics. And then it wants us to add updating and deleting, the last two important parts of CRUD. So let's do updating. I guess I'll take a pause. Did anyone actually we can also get rid of people inside of here now. So did anyone have any issues with any of this up until this point? Or any questions about how any of this works? This was all either very clear or it was so confusing that I'm not really sure how to even ask a question. One of the two. Okay. I'll take that as everyone either gets it or still thinking of a question, which they can always interrupt me or put in the chat. So let's do updating. Right. So let's update. Also, the general term is put. Updated person. Actually, let's just call it that because it's easier. Let's do put updated person. All right, so here is how we're going to do this. It's going to be actually similar to posting, but we're going to basically just put a new person where the old person was with the updated information. So we're just going to call it update person. Seems like the most straightforward way to do it. Request, response. So here's what it's going to do. We're going to need their ID. It's going to be the first one of these where we need an ID. We should actually probably go back and get one where we can get people just by their ID, but we'll do that in a sec. So their ID is going to be equal to parse int. Parse int. It's funny, I was making sure this worked earlier, and I accidentally typed parent here. I was talking to my sister yesterday about my mom, and I guess I was still thinking about parents, and so I typed parent here, and then it obviously threw an error because you cannot run a parent method on anything. So parse int of the rec.params.id. I'm going to pass the ID in the URL. I'm going to set that person to that we find to a variable called person. It's going to be, we're going to search for a people, not ID, people.find. I'm going to find a person where the ID is equal to the ID in this ID. Their ID is going to be equal to the ID in the request parameters. So if we don't find anyone, as always, we want to handle that. Turn a res.status of 404 not found, of course, everyone's favorite. JSONify that. The message will just read person not found. If we do succeed, here's what we're going to do. Well, actually, let's also make sure that we actually have a name too, because we're going to put in a new name. So if there's no rec.body.name, we're going to return another error, return res.status 400 error, JSONify that. Let success equal false, of course. And the message is going to just be along the lines of, please provide a name, like last time. Okay, so now, if we do have a person, and we do have a name, then we're going to set that just their person's name, person.name, to be the name that we provide in our rec.body. And then let's res.json that we succeeded. Success. True. Let's just let's res.json the new person too. Oh yeah, I see your message. Yeah. Um, let's see here. Bada bing, bada boom. This looks good. So let's update person. And then we go back to our routes, import our update person. Update person, great. Add a new one, router dot put, because that's just what it's called. Here we're going to need their ID, right? We need the ID. And then we just run update person. Great. Let's test this. So I should be gone probably. Yes, I'm gone again. Let's go ahead and post me in there and we can change my name. So there I am. Let's make sure I'm here. Yep, there I am. But now let's go ahead and put. So we're going to need my ID in the URL as a parameter. So 6. And then we want to change my name. Let's just do Gabe with like a bunch of E's. Go Gabe. All right. Put that. Hooray, success true. And then it's send the person. So now this is my name. Oh, right. Just all people. And then you can see there. Gabe. Cool. Great. We have create, read, and update. And then all we need is delete. Cool. Let's go back to our controllers. Oh, we're already in controllers. And then let's delete people. Delete person. Okay, so const delete. What's this? Not supposed to be capital. Delete person. Of course, same as before. Nothing new here. So it's gonna what are we gonna similar thing but as before. We're gonna need the ID, so we know which person we're deleting. Parse int, not parent. The rec.params.id. Here we don't want their. I'm actually gonna do this a different way. Because in the assignment, it says that you can use the array.filter to create the updated people array. And so I imagine that's probably what most people did. But so I'm going to do it a different way to show you that there's always, of course, different ways to achieve code. I'm going to use the splice method, which I like. I think we've used it before, but basically it takes 2 arguments. First is the index you want to start at, and then it takes how many things you want to remove from the array starting at that index. So if I wanted to remove, say, the 3rd thing in an array, I would do, like array.splice 2, because the 3rd thing would be at index 2. And then if I just wanted to get rid of that one thing, it would be array.splice 2, 1. If I want to get rid of 5 things, it would be array.splice 2, 5. So we need the index here, so we know which index to start at. So we're going to do, I'd also just did ID for some reason. Const index is going to be equal to people dot, how we do find to find that person. We can also do dot find index. It's the exact same thing. Where that person's ID is equal to the ID that we are passing in our URL. Okay, so if you run find index and it doesn't work, so like how here, like if there's not a person, then that's how we tell that it didn't work. For find index, index would equal, it returns -1 as the index if it doesn't find what you're looking for. So if the index here is equal to -1, meaning that we did not find that person. If we did find a person, then we would have found their index. If we didn't find their index, it'll give us -1. So if we get -1, then we just return another error. So res.status, probably 404 again. 404 dot JSON it. And let's just let them know that this person's not found. Person not found. Seconds. Okay. So, but if we do find someone, we just do people.splice, like I was talking about. We want to start at what index, the person's index that we found, that we're looking for, and just splice that one person. and then we res.json that we succeeded. Success. Okay. So a different way than using array.filter. It's kind of yeah, you don't need to do like a whole like filter with like a callback function. It's okay, buddy. Just find their ID real quick and then just run this real quick, nice splice method. So let's make sure that this works. All right, let's get our people again. I'm not here anymore, of course. Let's post me. Bam. All right, let's update this. We can go through all of them again, actually. Bam. Oh, right, it would be people.6. There we go. So now just make sure that I'm here again. Whoops. There we go. So there I am at Gabe. All right, but now it's time. It's time to delete me. Bye, everybody. Cannot delete at people v6. Did I encounter, whoops, did I encounter some sort of error? Get rid of me. Let's see if I did everything right here. Oh, I didn't actually implement the route, of course. So this is all working, but we need to actually send it and create a route for it. So delete person. Need to export that, go into our routes, need to make the route for it, of course, or else it won't work. Router.delete. We're gonna need their ID. We're gonna need to bring it in here, delete person, and then delete person. Bam, there we go. Nice and simple. So now it should work just fine. So there I am. Got deleted again because we got a second time. So let's post me. Bam, there I am. Make sure. Yep, there I am. All right, now. Goodbye, everybody. Success true. Oops, go back to all people. And you can see that I'm gone. Just to verify, let's get rid of Emma too. Sorry, Emma. All right, success true. Let's go back. Yep, Emma's gone too. All right. So that's create, read, update, and delete. But we did say that we wanted to get someone by their ID. So let's go ahead and add that too, because that's pretty important. So here's where we're getting all people. So let's just fit it right in here. So get person by ID. And you'll never guess, but I'm going to call it get person by ID. Res. Okay, so res dot, what am I doing? We need to do the ID, const ID, same thing as before, it's we're gonna parse int, the rec dot params dot ID. We're going to need to find the person, so const person is equal to people dot find, oops, callback function, where p dot ID is equal to the ID. Of course, again, we want to check as always if, space here like that. If there's not a person here, then we want to go ahead and return res.status for JSONify that. The message is going to be person not found. And then we just res.json that person. This will work. Okay, let's export it, of course. I'm gonna put it right in here. That's technically where it should go. Get person by ID. There we go. And then in our routes, right here, get person by ID. Router.get /ID get person by ID. Bam. Okay. Just to make sure, let's go ahead and get. There we go. Everyone's back. Want to put myself in there, of course. Hooray. There I am. We can go check out my particular route. There I am. Cool. Awesome. Okay. The stuff this week was can be confusing if all these different moving parts don't quite click in your brain. But this is, yeah, really common practice and how most places would, like actual professional work environments, would structure their stuff. So it's really important to understand all of this. And if not, then I highly recommend that you ask any questions that you have right now. Okay, that's fine. Well, we cleared through that quicker than I thought. So we have about 20 minutes left. What extensions for opening localhost in VS Code? Oh, I'm actually not doing that. I'm gonna need to rewatch and get a better idea and ask my questions later. No problem. Um, what extension do I do? I actually don't. I just go straight to I'm just using Google Chrome. Let's use Google Chrome for that. But there is one that you can use that is useful later on when we're doing maybe more stuff. It's called a live server. If you can see, because I have the live server extension, you can see this go live. Of course, this is just like running the base of this project. But as you can see, we can like navigate to all this stuff. If there were like actual things here, right? It's just like showing us like the code itself. But if we were doing something like if this was like a React course, this would be super, super useful. But yeah, for running something live, let's kill that. Running something live, I think you can honestly just open it on Google Chrome. It's supposed to I thought before it would like give you a little link here that you could like click and just open straight from the terminal and it just opens your default browser and runs it there. But maybe I might be thinking of React also. I'm pretty sure React does that. Oh yeah. Yeah, no problem. Salamat. Okay. Well, so there's that. Need to rewatch to get a better idea and ask my questions later. Okay. So is a part of this, did I go through some of this too fast? Because we can slow it down. We can do any of this again. Or we could maybe I could make something more simple. Like we could just make another version of this, but maybe less complex, where we just maybe make we could do like favorite ice cream flavors or favorite well actually I'm probably thinking of that because one of the other group mentors is doing ice cream. We could do like favorite colors or something. Um, something simple. Would that be helpful if we like remade it a different way with something else? Or what would be most helpful? Should I go through what we did again, or should I maybe do it again through another way? Okay, so let's do a quick large overview of what's going on. Right, so our app.js, we refactored it so it's just using this router, this people router. And so it's saying at this base route of API/v1/people, because this could maybe throw people off, is when you go to your router and you just see this, you're like, wait, it's not going off of that, it's going off of something else. That's being defined here. So it's saying at the base URL of /API/v1/people, go ahead and look for all the different routes defined by people router. So what's people router? This is the people router. All these together are the people router. And so it's saying when you go to any of the URLs that start with /API/v1/people, depending on what you go from there, you want to run one of these controllers. And then we have these defined here. So it's just a bit more of a complex way to say, when we get to this route, just run this code at the end of the day. Well, we've just broken it up into more parts, so it's cleaner. So when we're saying at this ./ route, which is really the beginning of our router, which is /API/v1/people, when we go there and we're just trying to get, which is just like just opening the page at all, just run this code, which is just a function. Get people is just a function. And we do that for not just getting the basic HTML operation, but when we try to add something, we try and change something, and when we try and delete something, just run these different functions. And at the end of the day, that's really all this is, right? So when we get, of course, what are we going to do? We're going to look to our get people. We're going to look to that function, which is called get people, and we're just going to render some JSON onto the screen. What's our next one? When we try and get at, again, starting at the base, /API/v1/people, but at this time, we add a parameter of an ID, just run this function, which let's go and look at that function again, get person by ID. Remember that we have this parameter, this ID parameter. So when you feed that ID in, find that specific person, and then just show us that one person. And it goes on, right? So if you're trying to not just retrieve information, but push information out onto a route, again, this is just our base route. I want you to run this function. What does this function do? It just creates a new person. It looks inside of the request body, which is something that we can configure here, right? So here's our request body. Right, because that's how all HTTP protocols work in the first place, right? It's usually going to be either get, post, put, /patch, or delete, right? It's just going to be these four. And it goes on a request and a response. You request, hey, can I do something, or can I get something from you? And then it responds with something, right? So and sometimes that is just a basic get, like, hey, can I get this page, right? Like when I refresh, what I'm doing here is I'm just requesting to my server, hey, can I get this information? And it says yes, of course. Then it responds with the information. But sometimes I want something more than just that. I'm going to be asking for more than just getting. I'm going to request that I can post. I can add something. And of course, then I can't just say, hey, can I add something? I want to say, hey, can I add something? And then I tell you what it is. So that's what the request body is. It's additional information that is required when you're asking someone for something. And so in this case, I'm just requesting, hey, can I put something in here? Here's what it is. And then if that's okay, then it responds with, yes, you can, and then renders out all my new stuff. Which one is it? Whoops, there we go. Right, so break that down again, right? So I'm going to request that I post. I'm going to add a name in the request body, right? Basically going to say, hey, can I add this person to the list? Here's their name. If that works, if that's fine, then I'm going to add that person to this list of people. And then it's going to respond, right? I've requested to add. It's going to respond, yes, success true, code 201, that's a success. And it's going to also respond with just that person's name. Sometimes it's helpful to understand the broader picture of what some of this stuff means and not just like how the code works. Right. So all of what we're doing is just we're making a request to do one of the 4 HTTP operations. If everything works out, then it's going to respond. I guess if things don't work out, it's going to respond too, and just say either no, that doesn't work. And we have plenty of examples of those, right? These res.status 404, res.status 400. Of course, we call the res just stands for response. So it's going to either respond with one of these bad codes, 400, 404, or it's going to respond with a good code, 201. And then that's pretty much all the rest of these, right? So then we request, hey, can I take something that's already there and update it? Can I take this one person and update them? If yes, then it's just going to say yes, and it's going to change it. If no, it's going to refuse and tell you why. Same thing with delete. So that is basically all we're doing here. Once more, we set up a router. It's saying, hey, if you go to this URL, I want you to run certain code. What that certain code is later here, nice and simple for us. If you go here, run this. If you go here, technically, if you go here and request this protocol, do this. If you go here, request this protocol, do this. If you go here and request this protocol, do this. Request protocol, do this. Request protocol, do this. Did that help clear sort of any of this up for you? Cool, good, good. We have about 10 minutes. Let's see if we can start maybe doing like our own example here, right? Let's maybe make a fresh one. So let's actually just adjust our data.js, right? Let's just make a new thing here. So I'm going to call it, let's just do a favorite colors like I did before, like I suggested. And const colors equals, make an array. Yeah, so let's give them IDs because it'll be easier. Set some basic colors, blue, everyone likes blue. I'm actually going to, for brevity's sake, I'm going to press, I think it's shift option down. Yeah, shift option down, and I'm actually cloning a line of code. So then we'll make this ID2, we'll make this ID3. My favorite color is purple, and my second favorite color is black. So let's just do these. These are like my top 3 colors. And then let's make sure that we are exporting colors as well. All right, so we've got a little colors thing, right? So then we're just going to work with colors from now on. No problem. I just saw your thank you. So let's make colors.js, right? This has nothing to do with anything else, just our I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. Just working with colors. That's it. Right. So we want a controller so that when we go to our when we hit the routes for our colors, we want something to happen. All right, so let's first grab our colors. Let's go back one. Okay, so we've got our colors. So let's make sure that we can make them appear on the screen, right? So const get colors equals request response res.json colors. This is res.json our colors. All right, let's just set up some adding so we can add some colors real quick so I don't jump around too much and cause a lot of confusion. So const add colors, add color. It's going to be really similar to the old one, right? So we need our request and our response. So if we don't, again, so I'm requesting, hey, can I add a color to the list? And I need to tell you what color that is, of course. I can't just say, hey, can I add a color and not tell you what color it is. So if we fail to do that, we need, of course, if my request is not good, doesn't make any sense, then we need to respond by saying, no, that you can't do that. You need to tell me what color you want to add. please provide a color. So this is what happens if I request something and the response is no. Now let's handle if the response is yes. Let's make a new color here. So their ID is going to be equal to, same as before, colors.length plus 1. So that'll be the next ID in line. And then color is going to be equal to just the color that I provided, assuming that I did that. Because if I didn't, then it would hit this part and say no. Then we can just colors.push our new color. Oh, lower. And then, of course, we respond. Remember, we're just going to respond with yes. You can add that new color now that you told me what color it is. Let's make sure to export these so we can use them elsewhere. Exports equals, let's get colors and add color. There we go. Okay. We need a new router for this as well, of course. Because right now these are just controllers, but they don't happen, right? We need to actually hit a route for these controllers to go off. Color.js. Colors. Should be colors.js. There we go. Okay, so we're going to need const express. Const express equals, I think I misspelled this. No, I didn't. Express equals require express. Let's set up another router for colors specifically. Express.router. Express.router. Then we're going to need our controllers. So const, we call get colors and add color. I think we jump out one. Yep, and then in controllers / colors. Now we have our controllers for getting colors and adding colors. So then router.get. This is going to be at the base, which is going to be colors. And we just run get colors. Then router.post, add color. Module.exports, because then we need to add, the final step is to add this to our app.js. So we need our router. Let's go to app.js. We'll need our router. So where did we put our other router? Here. Let's call this routers. We could actually probably bring this up here, but I'm just going to put them here just so we can see them. And then app.use/API/v1/colors. And then it's going to be our colors router. Well, I need to bring it in. Colors router. Bring that up here. Const colors router. Router. Same thing as the one right above it. Require routes/colors. Okay, so we did the exact same thing as before, right? So let's go back again. We've got a couple colors. These are Gabe's favorite colors. When we go to this base route, which let's then go over to app.js. So when we start at anywhere starting with API/v1/colors, go ahead and check the colors router for what to do from there. So let's go to our colors router. Well, when you try and get from API/v1/colors, just run this get colors function. What's the get colors function? It's just this, just a res.json colors. That's it. Let's move over here. And this should just work now. Look, there's our colors. We made it from scratch. Everything we need. We made some data. We told our server that when we head to this route, we have a router that tells you from there what to do at each URL endpoint. Adjust colors. If you're trying to get, which is what we're doing, trying to get from colors, run the get colors function. And one more time, the get colors controller is just to give us the JSON of the colors. That's all we're doing. And that's what's happening right here. This is the JSON of our colors. I guess we can try and post a new color. So let's post a new color. Color. All right. Someone give me a color you like that's not blue, purple, or black. First one wins.
Red.
Red, of course, obviously. All right. Bam. ID, color, red. And there it is. And why is this working? Because remember that when we say not get, but when you try and approach the API/v1/colors route with a post method, well, let's see. Let's check our list. Oh, router.post at that place. What happens? Add color. Well, what's add color? This code, just a function, just a regular old function. I hope that clears it up a little bit, what's happening here. Awesome. And we're just in time. Just in time. So hopefully, if you haven't submitted your homework by now, or you were experiencing some issues with your homework, this will clear that up for you. And if not, this recording will be available for you to watch again. So if there's nothing else, then I'll just say thanks so much for coming, everybody. And we will hopefully meet again next week. You, I, and my upset bird. Awesome. 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 Okay, everybody, I'm going to quit the recording and I'm going to sign us all off. Bye-bye.